right, close enough. Just about ready to do this.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
You want to rock and roll?
Let's
Both of
rock
them at the same
and
time?
roll.
Sounds like a lot of energy.
Just a little bit.
You know, rock and roll? You got to pick one. You can rock or you can roll.
I'll just roll.
Hey, did you see my post on
I did, and then you
Twitter?
texted me, and I responded. I don't know how I feel about it exactly.
I'm going to say I'm glad that the general consensus is that this is spot on.
The only thing I have against it is
West's
Shaquille.
placement.
No, it's Shaquille O'Neal being included with those other three.
Oh,
Because
no.
because I agree that I think Shaq is the greatest big man of all time.
Dominant.
And I think it makes sense because CT is more physically dominant. But it just feels like when we're talking about like, honestly, I think maybe you should just remove Wes. Is kind of how it
Interesting.
feels, and because when we're talking NBA terms, it's
Right.
always like Jordan, LeBron, and then Kobe stands pushing hard. So I think what it has to be is I feel like it's weird because CT is more of the golden child of the challenge than Johnny Bananas is. And so that would make CT MJ because MJ is always going to be the darling of the NBA,
Right.
no matter what. Um, and then I think Johnny Bananas actually fits more as a Kobe Bryant of a guy that just has tons of championships but never gets the recognition as being the best by a lot of people, gets not put there, but a lot of his fans are diehard. And then Jordan is LeBron because everybody's like, well, yeah, but like he has some of these early exits, and it's like, but we don't really like Jordan gets, or sorry, yeah, Jordan. It's hard because I don't have two Jordans. Jordan in the challenge gets a lot of hate from fans that just don't like him, which is very LeBron esque because you're very pro LeBron or you're anti LeBron
I'm
until
very pro
recently.
LeBron.
Yeah, until recently, because I feel. But here's the thing: I grew up a Bulls fan, so I don't like anything Cleveland Cavaliers at all. If you got
Yeah.
a
In the
Cavs
90s,
jersey
the Cavs
on,
was a pain in the ass.
I'm anti-Cav, so I just
Oh,
grew up not
Craig
liking
Elo.
LeBron. It's just the jersey, and it's so in that sense, that's how I would have it because CT's the prize child. But I think who you have is correct. I think Wes is on the Mount Rushmore of male challengers. I think he is in number 4. I don't think it's a conversation to have. I don't think it's close if you're including a 4. It was just using Shaq when those 3 are talked about as the 3 greatest basketball players. Shaq isn't in that conversation, but he is the most dominant player of his time.
And that's why his placement was where it was.
Yeah, and I get it.
And you know, I think some of the wording got it mixed up too, because it wasn't the greatest NBA players, it was the greatest challengers and like their male counterparts, like who I think
Right,
they would be
right.
in the NBA. And Shaq was dominant when it's time. I mean, when Shaq was shacking, man, there was really nothing that nobody could really do. But I was really happy at the engagement, and I was really happy that everybody was able to argue back and forth. A lot of people say West should have been Larry Bird, which I also liked. Um, and so there was a lot of aspects about it that I liked, but the biggest thing I liked is 1, a lot of people engaged with it, and 2, nobody really got nasty about it. I mean, some people was like, your list is ass, but even that's pretty mild when we're talking about Twitter. So I
But
thought that was
you're
really dope.
supposed to get that. Like you're supposed to
Yeah,
have somebody that says that because it's like, first of all, this is like a fictional made up thing. This has nothing. This has nothing to do with anything.
right.
I will say though, if people read into it, if I was putting my Mount Rushmore, like I said, those are the 4 I'd put on there. I would argue those 4 over Landon or Darrell or Derek or any other guy you'd like to try and put in there. I don't think anybody else holds a candle to those 4. And I
I
know
would agree.
a lot of people will argue and they'll try and put. I know I see.
Darrell.
Darrell used to be, but then I think his previous
It's like a
showings
Bill
that kind of
Russell
pushed him
fixture.
down.
You know, just somebody who's really, really great, but kind of so far back that people don't really put him in this new category. He was
It's like
great for his time, but it didn't really
yeah,
transfer over to the newer people.
It's like him and like Wilt Chamberlain. It's
Same,
like Darrell was an elite athlete and in shape when everybody else was getting hammered every night, and
right.
Wilt Chamberlain was playing against 5'5" plumbers. He's playing against your neighbor, and so it's the truth. Like if Wilt Chamberlain had to go in to get in the post against Shaq every night or Matumbo every night in the
He would have
'90s,
a
like
problem.
Patrick Ewing, like yeah, he would still score, obviously because we see bigs today still score, but it wouldn't be as easy. Um, but yeah, when it comes to the challengers, like the person that gets to talk the most about being a goat and everything at Mount Rushmore is Landon, and I don't see it. Um,
Did he have the it's funny because I made a secondary post, and on the secondary post I had Leroy as Carmelo Anthony and I had Landon as Derrick Rose. Really, really great for a short period of time.
yeah, the thing with Landon that everybody talks about is that he's won 3 challenges out of 4. But if we pull back the layers, like his first one was Gauntlet 2. He won by default because it was the coins
Oh
final,
yeah, that was wild.
and they didn't even have to participate in 2 of the 3 things, and they won, and so he got a championship amongst 10 other people. Then he comes back and is on Inferno 3, where he is potentially the weakest person on his team, in the final with Darrell and the Miz leading the charge. He is the role player there. And then we get his performance in Duel 2, where he loses to Brad. I don't think he should have lost there, but whatever. He
No,
probably would have won. He probably would have won the final.
he was doing the German suplex thing before Chris Benoit was doing
Yeah,
it.
and then we get him. Then we finally get him on Fresh Meat 2, and him and Carly win.
Super
And
impressive.
super impressive. But it is not like it is not like look at Duel 1 and Wes coming out on top against guys like Kenny, Johnny were there, Nehemiah, Evan, Brad,
To me,
CT.
one of the
Like,
most standout solo performances in challenge history
yeah,
that's almost yet to be topped. I feel like the way you're describing it is the way that Jordan described, people were saying like, oh, Ashley should have been there season 40. He's like, yeah, but what has she done? Her partners won all her challenges for her, da 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 da. Which
that
I
that
don't agree with, but I feel like that might be the sentiment.
especially because like her first win on Invasion of the Champions, all like Camilla
Yeah,
and Nicole had the same partners. Like, so it's not like her partner did better. You know what I mean? Helped her out more. Um, Yeah, I think those 4 are the right 4. And I will debate that with anybody any day, especially because we can't just like we can't the reason why people can say Jordan or CT are better than bananas is because we don't just list these people in order based on championship wins. It's based on
facts.
gameplay.
Because then Robert Ory would be on that list.
Exactly. And we look at somebody like Wes over Landon. Landon is not a political player. Landon is a good, like in today's game, Landon gets thrown in early, like Horacio and
Yeah.
Jordan over and over, and he probably doesn't make it far. Where somebody like Wes actually all 4 of them, Wes, Jordan, CT, and Bananas, they can adapt to where they're at. Oh, I have no friends, I can make it far. Oh, I'm playing with my worst enemy, I can make it far. Like I
And
throw
then
in a bunch of
longevity,
eliminations, I can make it far.
fact, and the longevity in the game proves that beyond a shadow of a doubt. But
Mm-hmm.
all right, I think that was a good little intro. Let's go ahead and bring this episode in. What's really good, Posters? Welcome to another episode of Love, War, Challenges. I am MTV Malik. He is Tyler Louder in a really wonderful, wonderful challenge shirt, which we still had to store up, but you guys fucked it up. Damn. Damn rights and reservations office of MTV.
Whenever I
Got your
hit pause on a Paramount Plus like challenge episode I'm watching, it shows me like, hey, shop now for your own challenge merch and
yeah,
everything. And it's like,
fuck
you're
you and
welcome.
your
You're
cease and
welcome.
desist.
Yeah, you're welcome,
God,
MTV.
you know what? I knew I was in trouble when one of the lawyers from from Viacom started following me on Twitter. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit, I think I'm in trouble. Oh man, and it's funny
Like
because
here, the crazy thing is they can't get mad at trying to like help out push the brand. It's like it's the weirdest thing. It's like if somebody was out there just holding signs saying Tyler Louder is the best at whatever, and I was like, how dare you say that? Let me say that myself. Like, no, let everybody spread the brand.
and it was a pandemic time. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Anyway, is this episode 4? I think it is.
mm,
All right,
yeah.
season 40, episode 4. All right, so the targets was chosen by Avery and Derek?
Darrell.
Darrell.
Darrell. Yep.
Got my D's mixed up. The targets are Derek and Anissa, Bananas and Lauru, Jordan and Naya, Jenny and Horacio. One hell of a group to pick from. Amazing. So early in the episode, you know, they talk about Anissa and her comeback, and I hate it when they do this sometimes. Cause as soon as I seen this, I was just like, yeah, I know who's going in today.
I looked over at my wife and I said, "Do you think Jenny and Anissa are gonna go against each other because they're showing us this?" Like,
God, the foreshadowing. God, you got to mix it up a little bit. Anyway, she tore the whole alphabet in her leg. And then she came back, which I thought was, you know, really, really impressive. But wasn't that a couple years ago?
that was 2 seasons ago, so it was probably about a year and a half ago. I would say was
Okay.
when 38 was. Here's the thing. I need to start this, and not just me, but probably you and probably everybody else on Twitter. We all owe Anissa an apology because we were just like, oh, here it is. She's not coming in as in as good a shape as she could have been. She doesn't care in the offseason. She's not trying. That's why she gets hurt. And it's like, no, she tore her ACL. Like that takes out
For everything,
that,
yeah.
that takes out the most elite athlete in the world. And it
For
takes
yeah.
her out. And we were sitting there and I was like, oh man, she just doesn't want to push herself in the elimination and the whatever. And it's like, nope. Anissa has had some of the worst injuries on the challenge. You remember Chance versus
Hmm.
Pros? And
Yeah.
like CT, like, oh,
Yeah.
ugh.
And you know, you think it's a sprained ankle. I did hear that she had surgery, but yeah, I mean, it's the whole fucking alphabet: the ACL, MCL, like a whole bunch of stuff got
Yes,
tore up.
yes.
And here she is, still back with a good attitude, wanting to compete. How can you be mad at that?
Nope.
We get a nice little fuzzy moment of Tori and Josh hashing it out, which I really didn't like the initial interaction, but I did like the very grown up, soft conversation they had with each other. Listen, we were both mad. I thought Tori was really cool about it. Like, I know you didn't really mean it. You were just mad in the moment. And, you know, I forgive you and just want to move forward with you. And I was just like, wow, this is really, really nice. But it also makes me think that the whole initial interaction was probably some bullshit. But then again, knowing Josh, who's super sensitive, maybe it was real to him. I don't know. And then she was
Oh,
crying. Now listen, we all watch the show for the drama, but not all drama is created equal.
no.
Not all, and this, come on, I don't want to see you guys be well-rounded adults. That's not what we're here for. Throw
Nah.
something into the pool.
This drama was courtesy of Grey Goose, is what the drama was courtesy of.
Mm,
That's all it was. Grey
I like
Goose,
that.
Grey Goose, and a cock block was what happened
Great.
for this thing. And that's what created drama. Here's the thing.
What,
I'm
you know,
gonna
I don't think cop block is the right term for this one.
Well, not necessarily, but it's okay. Well, whatever. Cut off. What instead of block, cut off
No, no, no,
because.
no. It's called choosing, man. These girls are out here
But
choosing.
I'm saying like Josh and Kylan were both moving forward, and one of their roads ended. They got blocked.
Man,
That's what I
Colin
was
wasn't
thinking.
even paying attention. It was so funny watching him talk, and Naya just like, yeah, okay.
You're
Take
so
me
you're
down,
so
sir.
you're so pretty. Like that's what it was. She was just staring at him, and it's like you're pretty.
It was
Um,
actually kind of a sweet, cute moment, too.
I'm gonna say this right now. Tori gave this is in my opinion only, a top 10 challenge quote of all time. Something that I will quote from now on of last episode when Josh just like, we're not friends anymore. And Tori just goes, you don't want to be friends with me? And like it's crying. And
You know what? If she was
it
a little
is
bit
the
more vicious, that could be the way that could be used. "Oh, you don't want to be friends with me?
well,
It
her
kind of
next
remind me
thing
of
was
friends. Fine by
well,
me.
well, her next thing was now I'm mad. Like that those two sentences together are just great. Like you don't be friends with me, now I'm mad. And like I can't stop thinking how funny that quote was. Like I was dying laughing at that. Like
Listen, as a gift to you, I'm going to clip that up and make it a gift so you can use it at any time.
I appreciate. I mean, that might be that we might have to do a top 10 challenge quotes of all time. I mean, it's not as good as I'm gonna smash his face and eat it,
Or I
but
don't wrestle, I beat bitches up.
yeah, or yeah. Or I will cut you with words. Like, yeah.
All right. So moving on, we get to the daily called trivia. The daily is trivia. It's called Cradled Cranium. And you know what? I felt really bad too because I always get the names for these. I did not get the name of that elimination. Did you?
Oh gosh, no, I didn't. I
I
didn't.
did, I did not. You know what? You know what's messed up? I didn't get the name of the elimination, and I did not give a fuck. Because as soon as I seen it put up, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is janky." This,
But I mean, that's an easy find
you know.
because we have the challenges on Wikipedia and Challenge Wiki,
Oh yeah, that's right. I never even thought of
and
that.
and yeah, you just go all the way down to season 40, and you hope nobody jumped in to spoil anything. And then they break it down by everything. So the elimination game was called
Cradled
what is that?
cranium. Oh well, not the. I don't know what the elimination was called.
Oh, they don't even have it listed.
Probably because nobody updated it. Oh, look at that.
Nobody's updated it because oh no, they did. It's called Pick It Up.
Pick it
Pick
up.
it
Okay,
up. Yeah.
which is actually appropriate name. All right,
Yeah. Cradled Cranium was the daily
it
today,
was a
which
daily.
made sense because they're using their minds for cranium and they were in like the fetal position almost. Like
Now, this one came with a couple of changes. This is heights over water, which a lot of times trivia is, but they kind of had like a Jeopardy format. You know, pick the category, you get a
mhm.
number of points. I love that. I love that. I didn't love that for every wrong answer, two random challengers got
I thought
dropped.
it should have been one.
I
I
thought,
thought
I
it
thought
should
it
have
should have been one, and it should have been the person who got it wrong. I
yeah.
didn't like that. I do get it. There's 30 people up there, and you don't want to be out here all day, which could happen because we've seen that in
Mhm.
trivia. We're just like, oh, well, it got dark because those things can run a lot of times. But this was especially frustrating because they were asking a lot of questions about the challenge pass, and I'm just like, do you motherfuckers not watch this show? I mean, we get to sit there and like, if I knew most of these answers, I know you knew most of these answers.
I got two answers wrong. Is what I got. I got two answers
I
wrong.
think I
One
think it
was
was something like
about
that too.
one was about like what show did John A win
I
off the
didn't get that one.
challenge, and I was like, how would I
Endurance.
know that? And then the other
They
one
did show it during
was
her real world season, but
I
who the fuck
forgot.
remember?
That
What
was
year was that? 2006, 2007?
I just remember that bald headed dude just tossing a fire extinguisher off their balcony
Oh yeah.
of the hotel room they were in. Um,
Was
but
that San Diego?
no, that's Cancun. That's
Cancun.
really Cancun.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
But the other one I got wrong was who did Burnout like hook up with or whatever. And I was like, man, that happened on a recent season. I don't remember anything because they're so drawn out. There's so many episodes.
Yeah.
But all the previous one, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, that's Mike the Miz. I was like, oh, that's like
I
I was instantly like,
I knew it was bad when they asked the question. I'm like, oh yeah, Montego Bay.
yeah, that's
Like even I knew that one, and I hardly ever remember like the actual locations. Unless the location is really built into the season, you know, something like the ruins or something like that, where you know the location is integral to the season itself.
they foreshadowed it though that it was going to happen because they showed a clip from X's one and CT gets thrown off and you're like, I don't know, this one. And then it was like, no, Gauntlet 3. And Banana's like, dude, you were
You were
on
on
that
that
season.
season.
And then during this trivia, there was like three or four people that just like it happened around, they were there and they couldn't remember.
Yeah,
So
you know, it's funny because the first question was who's the first solo winner. Jordan was there. He had a lot to say during the reunion, and Jordan really pissed me off this
but
episode because you know he knew the answer.
it's tricky though because for the first time they didn't have like a group or team win. They had two solo winners. They had Wes one for the guys and Jody one for the girls on duel one. That was they had the girls and guys weren't competing each other. So it was just Wes was the solo winner, Jody was a solo winner. So like I get that. Then but they do praise and talk about Kara being the only like the first actual solo winner. But the difference was that guys and girls were competing in a final against each other. So that's where the difference is. But I mean, it's funny though. It's funny though because he did have a lot to say. Um,
And that one just
yeah.
slipped his mind. I hope they never do that again. We never need another solo winner. It should always be a male female winner,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
always.
Always.
Um, so CT, somebody else is funny because somebody else, Derek got the question wrong, and CT gets dropped in the water and he hurts himself. And it got me thinking about this elimination. I am totally fine with heights over water. I'm especially fine with heights over water for trivia. It's great. It adds a level. They're up 30 feet. That's high. That is high. I can't help but think that maybe sitting in that cradle position made this injury worse when he was dropped.
Yeah, because he was flipping back, and as he flipped back, he was kind of like in a seated position. And so his spine hit first and would just shift up because it's like hitting concrete. Like the water, you go into it, but it's a
Yeah.
flat wall when you hit it. And so it just hit him and his tailbone up. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a like something severe happened to him and they just kind of cleared him. I wouldn't be surprised if he has like a pinched nerve or something happened with his spine. That's so risky. This was the worst falls I've seen since Battle of the X's 2 when they were wrapped up like burritos
Oh
and it
yeah.
like flung them out. Like I understand that you want this to be like hilarious and falling and everything, but there are better ways. Like when they did on Dirty 30, they did this same thing. They were on a rope and they were leaning back and they would cut the rope and they could
Mhm.
either fall straight to their feet or some people tried doing backflips and everything, but it was more controlled.
And that's what I think. Either you drop them straight down or you give them just a split second to get a more controlled drop to control how they fall. Some of these people are 40 plus, man. It's needless and it causes a needless injury and needless risk. You know, if you
Imagine
lose
somebody,
CT to a
imagine
random
somebody
fall,
fell on the back of their neck or the back of their head. Imagine they over rotated and they go in
yeah,
like neck first in. Like,
as we grow with the challenge, unnecessary risk is just what it is, unnecessary. So give them a second to control their fall or drop them straight down. You're still gonna get funny falls anyway. There's still gonna be risk, but something like that, and like, oh man, can you imagine if Derek takes out, you know, you said, yeah, did I almost take out the best player on our team? That would be wild. And we would lose somebody like CT for what?
and after he got hurt, we saw more people that were holding on with their hands. They would just let go and then they would fall straight to make it
Yeah.
safe. People falling isn't why we like trivia. We like trivia because they're up high. It's a high pressure situation. Some of these are softball questions they get wrong. TJ laughs and then TJ makes a comment. Them falling isn't a part of it. Like it's about they're kind of afraid of heights. They got to answer something simple that they should do, but they can't because they're in panic mode. TJ laughs. That's all we need. Nothing else injury wise do we need.
So for me, I always like trivia for a different reason, and this version of it had one of my favorite aspects of it. One of the best things about trivia is if done right, it's fair and
Yes.
anyone could win it. And it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how fast you are, it doesn't matter how strong you are, it doesn't matter your alliances. If this is set up in the correct way, anyone can win it. And a lot of times those are my favorite challenges. Because guess what? Sometimes in these eliminations and stuff, it does matter if you're fast. It does matter how much stamina you got. It does matter how strong you are. And trivia, all of that is stripped away. All you got is this. Speaking of that, I, you know, I'm glad that Devin and Corey eventually caught on because I didn't buy that. I didn't buy Jordan for getting Cheyenne shit at all.
It was smart. It was so smart by Jordan. And we'll
It
get into
was
the
it
why.
was it was smart. It
I
was
think it
smart
was
in all of the right ways too.
it was the only I think it was the only move for him to make. It was the only move. Here's the thing. If Jordan and them win, it is harder for him to be like, I can't throw in bananas in Laurel than it is for Laurel to go, I'm not putting in Jordan. Like
Hmm.
Laurel's already pissed off everybody. It doesn't matter. If Jordan gets no blood on his hands. He's protected. It's a win for era 3, even though his era is like, what's going on here? Like you kept your people. That's what you wanted. So why does it
Jordan
matter?
Jordan is not known for playing political or getting into alliances too much and that kind of stuff. And I think because of that, a lot of people don't. I mean, it was sus, especially for like Corey called it out perfectly. He was like, "Yo, you was at the baby shower. Like, you know us. You've done multiple seasons with us. Like, like,
He's never
you,
done a season with Cheyenne. He wasn't there for Rivals 3. So he didn't do a season with Cheyenne.
he wasn't. But he knew that. Even I don't watch Teen Mom at all. Rivals 3 was how many years ago? Yeah, and I
10.
know the name. And protect.
I've seen her on Teen Mom. So I would
One
have
thing I
yeah.
didn't like is the pretending to call, like acting like he was getting ready to call it Chantel.
And then
Yeah,
he switched to so that's where his problem was because he had the chef like ready, like CH, like he knew,
yeah.
and then he said, and I loved how like right away Corey was like, me, and then Tori looked over at Corey and was like, don't, you're gonna get us DQ. That's what I thought was like, don't, you're gonna get
Yeah,
us
that
DQ'd.
was
Like,
hilarious. See him in the back. And big shout out to Christina Finley, who also pointed that out. Like, yeah, getting ready like he's about to say Chantel is problematic for reasons we all know why. So I hate the fact that I hate Jordan so much, but I love some of the stuff he does. That part, not cool, didn't like that. And more importantly, he knows better. So to see him pull, little shit like that isn't the greatest. But
They didn't
uh,
have to send him up. They could have sent anybody else up. They chose to send him. They put him in position to do something like that. Devin should have went up, to be honest.
there he is. He's crafty as all hell.
Here's the big thing. What does every era want to do? Keep their numbers. So this kept their numbers and it didn't put any blood on their hands. Nobody's targeting them because of this move. And when we get there and Laurel gets the win and then her and Darrell are having this spat, I'm telling you right now, this just made Laurel look even worse than we've already been talking about her.
100%. First off, one, fucking disgusting. Everybody knows that when you are married, there's always people around you or in your peripheral who's not really happy for you.
Oh,
and and it's fucking disgusting. Listen, marriages, listen, even good marriages is work and it's hard work and people try to keep their shit together and it's tough. It is tough. And to sit there and try to do damage to somebody's shit for pretty much nothing, I thought was pretty fucking disgusting. Also with Emily Schramm's character. First off, she's already hooking up with Brad. Emily Schramm just kind of isn't like this. And neither is Darrell. Everybody who knows Darrell, if you've ever been a challenge mania, his family is always with him. He's very family oriented. It's just, I love the fact that as soon as she said it, everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like nobody bought it. Nobody bit into it. And even worse, when I said earlier that not all drama is created equal, this is almost exactly what I mean. This is a needless trying to cause drama for what? You're trying to make somebody look bad and it's not working because we understand who these people are. You only make yourself look bad, and this is not the kind of drama people really want to see.
Here's the thing though. Why would Darrell not pick her as a target? Let's look at this, okay? He won a season with Aviv. He won, first of all, he was Kara's first partner ever, and then they won the Champs versus Pros. Him and Emily have never had an interaction, positive or negative at all, like none. But Laurel was on Invasion. Laurel was having negative interactions. She was part of the reason that he had to go into all three eliminations.
Yeah.
And so Darrell doesn't forget things. That's the big thing. And
no, he'll hold on to it.
Anybody would have put the target on Laurel. Anybody would have. And here's the thing: if you look at everybody else that got selected, it was like some of the best guy competitors all got what.
These targets were, I mean, it was a fucking stacked house. And also with Emily knows about, body science and that kind of stuff. And we've seen Darrell pull out his back.
But on top of that, though, well, there we go. We see that interaction. Actually, we're talking about it. She's helping him with his back that he just pulled. And on top of that, she has a connection with Brad. So therefore, they can work together. And it's like, so why would, you were the only option. Like, why would he tarnish his game to do that?
It was a great option. A great option. If you value the woman on your team, don't you want to get out the strong woman from the other team so yours can do better? Come on. Just dirty work. Dirty work. I didn't like that at all. And I get it. I'm a huge Kara fan. People love Kara. Laurel is falling on the opposite side, even more so with these last two seasons of this season and All-Stars. But I don't hate Laurel or, I don't even particularly dislike her to a significant degree. I just dislike some of the stuff she does. The relationship with Nicole, her interactions during All-Stars.
When it comes to challenge people, there are fans out there that just they hate people, and they shouldn't hate these people because they're characters. They're put in these strenuous conditions and everything to entertain us and to win money themselves. But what it should be treated as is this should be looked at as professional wrestling. This should be looked at as WWE. It's not somebody you hate, but it's somebody you won't cheer for. It's somebody you will boo. It's somebody that you are hoping doesn't win against some of the people you cheer for, the good guys. Right now, there is a scale. Horacio is right here as the most pure good guy ever, and then Laurel's on the
sunshine.
And Laurel's on the opposite end now. She has solidified herself, in my opinion, as the biggest challenge villain the show has ever seen.
Ever.
Because she's just a bully, and she just says things like why was she talking to Darrell like that? Why was she using an accent and everything like that, talking to him? Like, she says some of the most hurtful and harmful things.
And you
We
know,
forget
and
about
has
this.
been for years.
We forget
Remember the
about
whole
it.
Big Easy thing?
That's the thing. People always thought it was Big Easy, but she was actually ripping on him first, and then he was saying stuff too. But it was like she was like poking way dangerous. And then we look at the car situation, and it's gonna get worse because we kind of have gotten little speculation rumors of what we know they're gonna talk about with them. I'm not sure if you have, but I've kind of heard it's stuff with Kara's past relationships
I kind of heard some rumblings.
and mental health. Yeah. And
And, and,
so
and let me tell you
she,
something. I hope MTV doesn't drop the fucking ball with this one, because like the whole stuff with D was like, oh yeah, we're cutting her out. I didn't think that was the right move. Give us the risk. Same thing with Camille and stuff. Like, hey, you don't have to baby us. We grew up with you. We can handle the hard stuff. And the hard stuff is one of the things that made The Real World one of the best reality shows ever made. Dealing with kind of the hard stuff. And we want to deal with the hard stuff, not just for our entertainment, but come on, you guys owe it to us. So don't, I'm telling you, MTV, do not fuck this edit up. Do not have, 22 challengers having to hop on Twitter with like, no, this is what really happened. Because
no,
we
and
saw some of that after the elim, which we'll get into.
I mean, like a lot of this too, it's like people like Camilla should be put back on TV immediately. And she should have to face the repercussions of her
What
challenge castmates
what they kind of
calling her
did,
out in person.
they kind of did with the reunion. They had her there. She had to get her talking
She
to.
she wasn't at the Dirty 30 reunion. Nope. The
Didn't they
host
have a thing where they sat down and she was crying?
not Dirty 30, because that was after Dirty 30 they did Chance vs Pros, and then she became uninsurable, and that's where she got pushed off. But I think if you think about it, like if she comes in there and all of a sudden now Camilla's in there and Cam's on there, she's gonna call her out. You know what I mean? And here's the thing: it's not that it creates drama, that we want to create this drama and everything, but if somebody's being racist or sexist, or they're being transphobic, or if they are being domestic violence and everything, or something of this matter, you should. MTV is the platform that brings it to life, saying this is a real issue with real people, and here are people that care about you, and we're not gonna let people get away with it. They've been doing this since Real World San Francisco. Like so why are we shying away from this stuff now?
Be the MTV we know and love.
Yes, yes.
Do it.
You
What's the
the
harm?
MTV gives younger generations voices, and they bring issues to the forefront in an entertainment television way. Look at the whole show Catfish. That's exactly what
Mm.
it does. And so I think MTV, if this issue that we think comes true and it's about cars past relationships and it's mental health and everything, they cannot shy away. It has to be pushed as we care about everybody's mental health. We care about our fans' mental health, and you should care about your friends' mental health. And that's how they should push it.
Well said. Well said. All right. So moving on. Everett gets the W. Horacio and Jenny are going to Elim, which is good because I mean, these people are going to eat. Oh man, whoever they fit. Now, to me, as soon as I hear this, I'm just like, you got to put in Jordan and I. You got to put them in. Got to put them in. There's only, from what I can remember, there's only two people in that show who has beat Jordan in elimination, and that's Bananas and Horacio. Am I missing anybody?
Um, he's lost to, let's see, he's lost to Fessy.
I mean, on this season.
No, but that's what I'm trying to think. I'm trying
Yeah,
to think of all of
and
his
it's not a lot.
losses.
It's not a lot. Jordan cleans up nicely
He's
when it
lost
comes
to
to elimination.
Wes. Yeah, like he's only lost to like 4 or 5 people. So yeah, I mean,
And everybody who he lost to is a fucking beast.
in their own rights, yeah, even Fessy,
Yeah.
like because it was a physical thing. Yeah. Um, I will tell you right now that I thought Jordan and Derek both proposed, like they played so well. This is the
I
best.
agree.
This is the best strategic I've ever seen Derek play ever on a challenge.
By far. And even better, he didn't take himself too seriously. He kept it kind of campy,
Mhm.
super entertaining. And I was just like, and he goes, even better, he was right. He was 1,000% right. Yeah, it was jokey. Yeah, it was funny. It was entertaining and all. But all of the points he made was really right. I was very impressed by Derek. Like,
But
awesome.
on the other end, and I think Derek's points were right. I think 100%. If I was there, if I wasn't working with Jordan, you got to put him in when you can. We used to talk about this with CT. You send him straight to a redemption house. You don't give him multiple opportunities to get back in the game.
And here goes something even better. I always say, like, yeah, you want to take a shot, but you can't take every shot that comes up. There's no
No.
point in putting Jordan in against Josh because he's just going to wipe him down and then he's going to
Right.
come back pissed and motivated to fuck your world up. You take this shot because now you got Horacio in there. Horacio has beaten him before. Horacio is good at all around and janky eliminations. You have to take, and guess what? I'm telling you right now, not taking this shot is going to have such an effect on the rest of the game because you have to put him in against people like Horacio because these are the only time to take him out. Unless you get an opportunity to put him against, I won't even say Darrell these days because he wiped Darrell down, but a Bananas, a Horacio, CT, if you get a chance to put a Jordan in or a Bananas in against these people, you have to, these are shots you cannot miss.
So here's the reasons why it made sense not to put Jordan in, because we have to look at this from both angles. If we're going to analyze this, and it's like watching the show, Nerys leaves. Is Horacio in a state to stay? Horacio seems emotionally broken down. He doesn't have his comfort level. He's not really. He's kind of friends with Kylan, but he's friends with like Jordan or Anissa. But he's not really. He's not really. That's not his people. He came there with Nerys because they were going to work together, win together, and he seems like he's drained out. Which it's not just him. This happens with a lot of challenge couples early on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh man, I just want to be with them and everything. And so part of my fear would be, if I'm Johnny Bananas, is Horacio going to give it 100%? Or am I going to piss off Jordan and Jordan's going to get an easy win because Horacio wants to go home? The other part of it is Jordan said, you don't have to take a shot at me because everybody wants me out. Everybody else can get their hands dirty. Everybody else is going to call me out when they get a chance. Why do you have to do it? Every episode, I'm a target. I'm going to get a chance to throw in. Why do you have to get your hands dirty? And so that thought process makes sense where it's like, you're right. Everybody is going after Jordan. Everybody wants him out. Why do you have to be the one to make the call? So I'm saying, like, I get that aspect. I think Jordan played it really well. I think Derek played it really well. If it
I like
wasn't
the way that
Laurel,
Jordan coached Naya too. He was just like, go in
yeah,
there,
so
you gotta
smart.
say certain kind of very, very smart. Because he knows Naya doesn't have the same experience, even though she has been around for a while. But he's also, and he's right. Him and Bananas kind of have a thing. Yeah, we're not really working together, but also we don't really have to take shots at each other until it comes down to the point where we have to, you know?
Well, if somebody comes to you face to face and is like, look at our history, it's almost kind of like they're begging. Like now it's like, I'm in trouble. Come on. But if a third party is like, I've seen you guys have this bond and there's no reason for us to break that. And it's like, okay, you're right. You're not trying to save your ass. You're trying to say like this is actually a play. Overall, I here's the thing. Derek could take out Horacio, like we did see happen. So it's I did the only thing is like it's taking out Jenny is really the thing that you're looking at here, where Jenny beats Anissa probably in a majority of like 7 out of 10 eliminations. She probably should win. Where Naya and Jenny is probably closer to 50-50. Yeah. So
So, and before we get to elimination, I gotta say, I really love how Era 2 just kind of sat down Laurel and Banana was just like, yeah, you're gonna have to really take, like, we need you to take this shot. We all need you to take this shot to take out Jordan. And they're just like, well, nice, but you guys wasn't the target, so, we get to make the decision. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a great thing they did as a team. Even though Laurel is so stubborn, we all see it fall on deaf ears. But I think everybody made the case, and I also think that that's really going to have a huge effect on Laurel going forward because she also showed Ever too that she's not willing to listen to your input, and she's going to play the game that's best for her.
you know what's one thing we didn't talk about when we were doing the cast breakdown? That 3 of the 10 people cast in Era 3 were on Real World Portland. Like, how did we miss
Yeah,
talking about
Real
that?
World.
I just like,
I said that in the first episode. I said, "Wow, Real World Portland has a lot of representation this season," and it
yeah.
was good to see Avery come back in All Stars because I always did like Avery.
Mhm.
She didn't do much in All Stars, but I really love seeing her perform now. She didn't get much play this episode, but I think
No.
she's really coming to her own, and I think she's going to be one of the people who I think we'll see her on the next couple of challenges. She's become really, really interesting. Naya has had a roller coaster kind of thing back and forth, but she's been pretty solid
Growth. Growth.
growth as a
100%.
person. And I do want to see her perform a little bit better, though. She has such massive size on her. It can be used. I think Shorty got to start hitting the gym, and Jordan is Jordan. I hate him, hate him, hate him, hate him, but God, does he, I mean, as a challenger and the stuff he does in the challenge, I can't even admit to be mad at some of the stuff anymore, and he's a great watch. So I'll leave it
It,
at that.
what's surprising is like I didn't realize that we didn't like focus in on this, but like Jordan has so many people watching his back. Like let's just I'm not even gonna talk about any guys he's working with, but he's got Tori, he's got Naya, he's got Avery, he's got Laurel. He's probably got Kara because he was cheering on Kara, so there must be some connection there. And Kara likes to work with the strongest people in the final. He has
They did
an
a Zach Nichols podcast live, and they
mhm.
were very, kind of buddy buddy.
He also has Anissa. Like he has 6 females
In
that
all
are
reality,
all wanting him there.
if Nerese was still there too, he probably still has Nerese.
Yeah, because of Horacio and stuff. So it's like just talking about the females alone. Holy cow! And then if you think about it, probably Janae and who else is on Era 3 for females? Am I missing somebody?
We are missing somebody.
No, Avery, Tori. No, okay, no, just Janae's the last one. But Janae, I guarantee she doesn't want Jordan to go home. So it's like he's so protected by the females alone. Like, yeah. But
Yeah,
let's go ahead and move on. Derek and Anissa get sent into elimination. And it is
right.
what it is.
Not super surprised by that. A little disappointed. I was hoping Johnny would be able to put his foot down, but Johnny isn't. He he's not about to stalemate.
He
He'll
told
bend.
us last week. He's like, that might be my mom. And it's like, sorry, you're going in. You're gonna
Yeah,
have
lower
to
your
get your
shoulder.
hands dirty. You have to lower your shoulder. He told us this last week. I will not stalemate.
And also, he gets to kind of take his hands off of this one. He was just like, listen, I didn't want to stalemate. Laura wanted this, and I didn't want to go in for anybody, so you put on Laura. That was really great. But as soon as they walk in, I'm looking at the elimination. I'm like, oh, this is a janky elimination.
Mhm.
And I sit here even better, and I'm just like, and I started thinking like Jordan would have been amazing at this. You know
I
who else I
mean,
thought would have been amazing at this too? Nerese. And I said how devastating was it to lose Nerese as soon as they did. Nerese and Paulie and like stuff like, and I see stuff like this, and it's just, damn.
yeah, I think this is something that would like trip up Josh. Like that's like it's a janky type thing and it's not like
Yeah,
straightforward and it's like you have to kind of like strategize. But overall though, I will tell you right now, I thought this was a good elimination because
excellent.
endurance eliminations that don't drag on for like drag me is like a
Yeah,
2 hour elimination where you barely see any action. But this you see they're tired, you see the effort, everybody's just like go, go, go.
I
It's
was
great.
thoroughly. I mean, I see it. I was like, yeah, it looks kind of janky, whatever. And I give props to the editing too and the cinematography of it. Great elimination. Great elimination. It's head to head. It's non-physical. It's stamina, and even better, you got Jenny and Anissa who have shown to really, really like each other and back each other up. You got Jenny, who's probably the most fit woman on the planet Earth. Like, just her muscles got muscles, just fucking stacked. And then you got Anissa, who is always injured. People get on her about her weight and being in shape. Um, and man, she really showed out. She really showed I'm just as strong as I think I am. And I think she surprised a lot of people. It came down to the wire.
She's
And it
more
was surprising to
naturally
see Jenny gas out in the way that she did
she's more naturally athletic than people like understand.
and give her credit for.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this was the very first time I have ever done this. I was rooting for Anissa to win an elimination. I was truly cheering her on, and when she didn't win, I was just like, oh, like I really wanted it. Even though I'm a person that likes to have the best of the best, continue to move forward. I was hooked, and I was rooting for the underdog.
And I was sitting in bed. It was me and the wife. We was watching this, and she knows about the challenge. But she's very peripheral. She's not a super
Mhm.
diehard. But she has a likes. We were in here going crazy for Anissa,
Yep.
and it
Yep.
was so close. And they shot it so well, and it was so close, and it was such a great watch. I mean, this is. I think this should be one of the eliminations that has to become a staple. It's such a good elimination, and it needs to be put up there. And we need to see this at least once every season. It's just a good
Yeah.
elimination, and it tests so many different things. Um, strategy, decision making, endurance, willpower. I have just man, do you know how hard it is to have like nothing bad to say about an elimination?
And you can do this so many different ways. Instead of like picking up things and putting them in, you could put like a mini like nine piece puzzle. that you have to like stack up. Survivor does this. They do it with because they do it with is it called Plinko or Planko? What's it called?
Plinko.
Plinko where it like hits
Yeah,
everything.
Plinko.
Survivor does this where you have to throw a ball up and it hits, and then you come and you try and solve your puzzle.
And you only
And
have the
if
time while the ball is dropping to do it.
Yep, and if the ball hits the ground, you get like a minute penalty where you can't work on anything. And so it's like this. They could probably incorporate like a puzzle. So now it's like you got to try and solve a puzzle, and then you have to get your ball, run back, put it up there. You only get like 10 seconds at a time. This could be used a lot more, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It did a great job at making you feel like the stakes were really raised up. And like I said, it was filmed and shot beautifully. Hey, all the credit in the world. And you know what? Really just super, super proud of Anissa and the way she performed. You still got it. Still got it.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I have been harsh on Anissa. Anissa has been the butt of a lot of my jokes. But I always gave her respect, and I always let people know that Anissa has a place in the challenge. Always did and always will. She has a place. She has earned it. She deserves it. And to me, in my opinion, that is undeniable. But great fucking job, Anissa. Good to see you show out. And Jenny too. Jenny did great. Because we've seen Jenny, who is really, really fit, but we also seen flaws. One, as strong and fit as she is, we seen Tori Dust in the Hall Brawl. She's not a huge fan of contact.
How did she win season 35? I'm gonna have to rewatch Total Madness. Like, how did she beat everybody?
No,
I
you're not
don't
wrong.
I
But
don't
you know,
understand.
in the end, it's mostly a race
Right,
with some
but she
puzzle
got
building and stuff. All you got to do
true.
is just good enough.
So here's the thing. If it's a stop and go, a 2 day final, Jenny could do really well. If it's a straight go, this is 8 hour. Like if Jenny was on World of Worlds 1, I don't think she could have done that first leg.
Also, I think with season 35, we had some people drop out. I don't think her competition was that much in 35. And
No.
the old girl dropped out. What was her name? A British girl, um, the blue eyes.
Gosh, I don't
No, you
even
know
know,
her
but
name.
no. I do, but I don't.
Melissa.
I
Melissa Reeves.
Melissa, yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's see. Yeah, because who was it? No? Okay, but she did beat Casey, but Bailey and Melissa were also running against her in the final,
The
and
challenge messed
so
up, man, because keeping Bailey and Swaggy C would have been just fucking great. Great. I really, really liked them.
yeah, yeah, man, and
I think it was their choice, but man, it would have been great.
that was the
Move,
first inclusion of like skulls and have to earn your way into a final type thing.
which they didn't get it perfect all of the time, but the skulls wasn't the worst thing.
No.
Other than a redemption house. In all reality, in a season like
Oh,
this, I wouldn't hate a redemption house.
this is so Survivor did this when they had season 40. It was Winners at War. They had 20 previous champions all competing against each other. And that's expensive. So to get your money's worth, they had an island, essentially that is like it's like the redemption house for
Yeah.
the challenge. And it got them their money's worth. So you got to see more people and everything. But
The best thing about the redemption house, it gave us a subplot of drama, especially letting
yeah,
them watch what was going on over in the other house.
or somebody
So,
coming back and being like, "Hey, your girl's hooking up with blah blah blah. You didn't even know that."
oh
Like,
God, yeah, Foley was messy for that. But that's how you play the redemption house.
yeah.
You got this subplot of drama, but when it's all said and done, only one team is going to end up coming back ultimately, and that's how you do it. You can't keep bringing people back all throughout the season.
I think redemption houses would be good if like on like Sunday night they showed like a 30-minute redemption house
Oh, that would be
episode.
great. And you know what you do? You stack all of these people in the redemption house, and then in the last couple of episodes, you have a mini final, and they come in
Right.
as a fourth team.
Yeah, like they have to win a mini final to get back
Listen,
in.
Paramount, CBS, Viacom, give us jobs. We know your audience. We know what these people want. More Kara and a redemption house with a mini final. Boom. We'll give you that for free. Moving on. The guys, Derek and Horacio. Also,
Even closer.
even closer, but also you felt like the stakes were really, really raised. It was shot beautifully. It was edited great, but a lot of controversy. And Derek got the win. And I
I
don't think a
mean,
lot of people had Derek pegged to win this one. Derek is great in eliminations, but more of a physical thing. And Derek kind of showed out this episode. He showed a really strategic side, and he showed he still has that dog in him, and not just for taking a stick away from somebody.
So this, a couple layers to this is that the reason why the stakes are so big is that it was either Era 4 was going to lose their best competitor or Era 1 was going to get depleted down to 5 people. And so it was like, that's what the stakes were. Derek is known as, his nickname is the Pitbull. And this matchup was the Pitbull versus the Prodigy, is what it was, because
I like that
Horacio is the Prodigy, and this should have been drawn up a little bit more. I don't know how we're not already calling him the Prodigy, because everybody looks at him as like, dude, you're
Be-
like, if Horacio was on seasons 5 through 15, he'd have 5 championships. Like,
because he's not coming back. This was his last season.
wait, what?
Yeah, Horacio's done with the challenge. So is Tony now too.
Wait, wait, what?
Yeah. So
We'll get into that. We'll get into
I
that.
don't,
Let's.
I don't 100% know what the source is, but basically saying, I think he told somebody this just to hurt third hand, but basically like, hey, the challenge is fun and stuff, but it's not really for him in the way that he likes to compete. I think that he feels, and I think we may have seen why, that like sometimes the rules aren't like the rules that it should be, or
There's a
it's
gray
not.
area.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that he's just not feeling it. And plus, he does have a pretty successful semi-pro, soccer career, and wants to put his focus on that. So we're probably not getting Horacio. But basically, it's said
He'll
that
be
Horacio
back.
doesn't want to come back.
He'll be back. He'll be
Think
back.
so?
I think he'll be back 100%. If Maurice is going to keep coming back, he's going to come. I think he'll come back. Here's
Here
the
goes the
thing.
worst thing. Narice should have been here. We could have had Narice years ago. We should have.
Here's the thing is that Jordan was talking about this on a live, and it was like, yeah, my first season I made like $1,000 a week. I was there for 8 weeks, and then I made some money in the final. And he's like, I ended up going home with like $10,000 after taxes. And he's like, but the next season came around, I was making $3,000 a week, and I made a final. Like so I was sitting there and I was like, that's great money. Like if you're
Yeah.
there for 8 weeks, that's 24 grand in 8 weeks. Plus, you could win more.
And plus, look nowadays, seasons got 20, 23 episodes. Sometimes, anywhere right now they go anywhere between 16 to like 22 episodes. And plus, if you make the final, you get final money. It is good money, especially if you get a win. Because if you get a win, you could take care of your basic needs for the most part. For the whole year. But if
There's
you compete and
inflation on
stay
that
long
too.
enough, huh?
There's inflation on that too. That was season 24
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
he was making
absolutely,
a grand. Like,
absolutely. I really love the guy elimination. I was really stuck to my seat with this one. I thought Horacio might get it. So Narice did call out a lot of inaccuracies
mhm.
about the this elimination. What side do you fall on? Because she showed that like
I have no idea about this. Tell me about it.
so basically Derek would put some of his stuff in the pegs and it would fall out, and producers would put it back on the peg for him.
Oh,
Stuff
because I
and
did see when he dropped the ball one time, like
mhm,
5 pieces fell out. And I don't think he should have had to move those out because they were already past the line. But I
right.
think next time he came back, he should have had to also put those back in.
Hold on, let me get it pulled up. Yeah, but basically she called out production and just said like, yeah, some of these rules were, kind of gray. And she said like, production gave them like, production gives them the absolute rules of what you can and can't do and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And just said it wasn't working in Horacio's favor, and it seemed like they were trying to keep everyone around. And she said because she wasn't even there. So she said this was confirmed by some people who were there.
Well,
So I got to
because
go through her Twitter and see everything that she said. But I take it with a grain of salt, but we've seen stuff like this before, janky stuff with the rules and how they can be bent.
that makes more sense though, because everybody was like, "Who won?" And I'm sitting here and I'm like, "What do you mean who won? You watch somebody put in a peg, horn blows, the other person's probably still putting in a peg. When the horn blew, it looked like there was a moment. There's a
Oh,
shot in the
confusion.
episode, no, where Derek is looking at Horacio, and in the top left corner of his, or top right, if you're looking at the board, that
Isn't done.
piece was missing.
Yeah.
Why would every other time he was running, but at that moment he was just looking at Horacio, and it was like a 3-4 second transition shot, and so that was one of the ones that fell out when he ran into it and it fell down. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, did they count that one as still in because he did put it in, and that's why everybody was confused because
We don't know. You know what they need? Like in the NBA, or in the NFL, when the refs mess up, they come out with a statement say, "Hey, this happened and messed up." A little bit of transparency. Transparency is what keeps this from being a more legitimate fifth major sport. Got
Did
to
you
have
see
the
that when
transparency and clear rules
Horacio was getting his last piece, he caught it with like one hand and then he like walked to his piece to put it in.
with no sense of urgency at all.
So my thing is like either he saw when he caught it, Derek's ball was still up and he knew he could just walk and put it in, or he saw that Derek was missing a piece when he put it in. And then that's where everybody's confused because it is weird. I do see why they'd want to keep Era One, but I think, man,
It's janky.
yeah,
Very, very janky.
it's very janky, and so we'll never know. The only way we'd ever know is like if the challenge came out like 2 seasons later and they were like, "Hey, it's season 42, but it's the off season. 42 just ended. We're gonna show you guys the whole live elimination.
Put it on YouTube. Put the
It's an
unedited stuff
hour.
on
It's an
YouTube.
it's an hour long. You can watch the whole thing unedited, and it'd be like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. Like
It
everybody
would be
will
great. And you get the cursing, which why do they not realize? We love that. We love hearing our challengers curse. All right, so Derek gets the W. Anissa gets the W. Big win. Big win for Ever One. They needed this so
Jenny
bad.
Jenny gets the victory, not Anissa. Do you
Oh,
say
I'm
Anissa,
sorry.
Jenny?
My fault. Yes,
jump.
everyone gets a big win. We're keeping Derek. And don't get me wrong, still love Anissa, but let's be serious, not the biggest loss. I think everybody kind of had that pegged at some point that Anissa was going to be an exit. The targets, though, wonderfully picked. Tina CT, Emily Nehemiah, Devin Torrey, Olivia Kylan. Very big notice that Corey and Josh did not do any of the stepping up. Nehemiah didn't really step up either, but he also didn't throw a fit that he got picked. So
No, because they were just like, here's my thing about this, and so like, if Kylan got put in because it was like, well, you never actually went into elimination, you were just a target, and then it's like, okay, well, neither did Derek, so why are you being like Nehemiah? You didn't have any. I don't know.
I mean, it didn't really make sense.
Everybody volunteering, like if you weren't in the era of the person saying your name, I would have been like, no, you can say my name. I'm not going to volunteer for you. Say my name. Make me a target. That's what I like. Derek, you want to call me out? Like you want to call out blah blah blah. Emily, say her name. And then
Daryl.
why did Derek not just put Laurel back in? She
I
didn't.
don't know.
She,
I'm thinking maybe you can't pick the same target twice because
they
I was
didn't
just like,
say.
why is Jordan not a target every week?
Well, but here's the big thing though, is that what this does mean, and what's great about this is that you can't go into back-to-back eliminations. That's the best part about this, because a lot of times we see somebody and it's like, okay, you're going in. Oh, you won? Well, you're going right back
And
in.
over and over, and we see it. This is how
Now,
people get 5 elimination wins in one season, which should not be the case.
but now they can actually get their ground back. They can sit back for a week. I like if you win, you're out for a week. I like that.
I'm fine with that too.
I've always liked it. It's
Yeah.
they did it on War of the Worlds where like you would get that skull and
Mhm.
it's like you can't be called in. I think that makes sense. Like
I
you
like
just
it.
had to do an extra thing that everybody else didn't have to do. That's still in the game.
All right. One thing I want to touch on before we get out of here. I put out a statement just to something I found. I was like, hey, Car fans are diehard. We love, support, and defend Car on all fronts. Win, lose, or draw. That's our girl. And no matter what, and we're not going to change our minds. We got her back. When Car was on the challenge, she put asses in seats. I think Laurel believes that she's better than Cara Maria in every way and resents the fact that she can't inspire the same love and support. She cannot fathom why people love Cara over her. Fair or foul?
It's fair. I don't. It's 100% fair what you said. Like in your statement. Like I don't even understand how you wouldn't understand. I don't understand how she doesn't get why she's not likable.
And that's why and to base and
Respected, but not likable.
and in its basic form, jealousy. I'm better than you. Why do people love you and not me? I'm faster than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm taller. I'm prettier. Why are you the face? Why are you on the billboards? Why, if you're not on the season, people lose their fucking minds? People threaten to stop watching the show. Nope. If Laurel's not on the season, no one's going to threaten to watch the show. If Laurel comes back, people aren't coming back in droves. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think when most people say that, first, if you're a challenge fan, you're going to watch no matter what.
Yeah. If you're a true challenge fan,
I love Cara, but her not being on didn't get me to stop watching the challenge. I felt salty about it or whatever, but her coming back, I think brought a significant amount of people back, and you see it in the ratings. You know, always making fun of the ratings. Ratings have been solid this year, solid. So All Stars too,
Mhm.
or All Stars
Yeah.
4. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
know what you mean.
she put
Yeah.
asses in seats, and
Yep.
and that's what I think it is. She's like, I'm so much better than you. How am I not getting the same amount of love? Look how you act.
It's, it
That
will
shit with
look.
Darrell put such a bad taste in so many because people are able to see that. And like I said, we have grown with this audience, and we're able to see it. And some of us are married, and we know somebody just like Laurel. So happy for you guys. Not like
Here's
don't mess with people's marriages. People get testy about that. Marriage is hard enough without having somebody fucking throwing shit in it for no reason.
Here's the thing. People turned on Kara on 34 on War of the Worlds 2. They turned on her when she was like, I'm not going to attend Tori and Jordan's engagement thing, even though
Mm-hmm.
we're in a house and you can't go anywhere. Like, people were like, you're being bitter for no reason. You're being a bad apple for no reason. And people did start to turn on Kara where it got to the point where it's like, you know what? I hope she loses. Like, that's people were
Yeah.
wanting her to lose. And it's like, she might have realized this because now that she's come back, she's not talking really bad about anybody and everything. She's not making fun of people. She's going, "You're the best. I want to run against you." As simple as that. Like, I want to prove myself against you. And it's like, you know what? It's becoming more likable. Like,
For Laurel's sake, because I think Laurel has a lot of great qualities, and I don't think Laurel is all bad or whatever. But I think, man, I think she's going through some shit, man, and it's showing in her personality, and I do not like it. I do not like it. Hopefully, she can get her shit figured out. But I don't
she's a
know.
good challenger, is what she is.
She is, and it seems like a good challenger, a horrible person, and like I felt compelled to say that shit. So it is what it is. Anyway, that's going to do it for episode 4, season 40 of the challenge. Anything else we need to touch on before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I would just say we will see Horacio back. I don't care what anybody says. We will see him.
Mm,
I don't. You know what? CT was once done, and you know Wes has said he's done. We'll see Wes back again.
we
You
will.
know, we see. Oh man, Jordan's got a season ban. Maybe he's gonna stay away. No, he's back. Like, oh, Banana's gonna retire. He's back. No, Mark came back. Like, we will see him again because here's the one thing. Here's why I know he's an athlete, right? He's a professional athlete. Professional athletes hate to lose, and they hate to have. It's kind of like at practice when I'm coaching. If we're doing like a shooting drill and everything like that, I won't end it on somebody be like one more, and then it's just a bad shot and it doesn't even go on frame. I won't end it right there, but no, let's go again. We're not going to end on a bad note. Horacio won't end on a bad note. Horacio will play the challenge until he wins, and then he will quit.
I would absolutely love that. Once again, I am MTV Malik. He is Tyler Louder. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, and also Spotify lets us put the video podcast on Spotify. So you can check it out there. I thought that was really, really dope. We'll be doing that going forward. I am MTV Malik. He is Tyler Louder. This is Love, War, Challenges. Good night, or good day, or whatever it is.
And after you guys leave this episode, check on your friends. Make sure their mental health is good. September is a month to care about people, and let's step out there and make sure everybody's feeling heard and cared about. So
I love that. Good night, gang, gang. Talk to you later.